Welcome. It has been a minute. It's been a good while. Happy Astro Self-Care Sunday and happy Women's History Month. It is March. I want to acknowledge both. I have a lot going on for Women's History Month this month. So make sure you are following me on social media, including LinkedIn and Facebook and IG and TikTok is mainly for my astrology, so definitely follow me there because that's what we're talking about today. But I also, like I said, am doing a lot for Women's History Month in my social media streets. I'm doing some daily affirmations. But if you're new here, hello. And if you're like, what's this? What? This is Astro Self Care Sunday. I took a break from doing some videos in February. I took a break from my podcast just to let you know a little bit about who I am so you know who you're tapping into in case you knew. My name is Kenya, and I am a certified holistic wellness coach. I'm also an astrology guidance coach. You could say astrologer, but I do more than just talk about placements. I actually guide and coach people through because my professional background is in counseling. And I use astrology as a tool to help people with their personal development. And so my business is Finding Your Voice Finding Your Voice After 40 is the name of my podcast. But the business is just Finding Your Voice, Health and Wellness. And so up until the end of January, so I would be here every Sunday with videos, with full length videos. I try to go 30 minutes to try to help you learn more about astrology and the basics. And so I took a break and I was doing kind of a series talking about planets, but y'all weren't tapping in. Y'all weren't really tapping into that. And so the true astrology enthusiast are going to be starting my new class that technically registration by the time I go this hits registration will still be available. Foundations in Astrology 6-week virtual class. But that registration is going to be closed. We start March 4th at 7 p.m. And so you could technically sign up still and get in if you're watching this the day I drop this video. But if you're watching this way after, I'm sorry, it's too late. Now, if you're watching this March 5th or March 7th or any time before March 11th, you technically, I would allow one absence. You can miss the first one, but after March 11th, we wouldn't be able to open our doors. But technically, we're trying to close the doors before so that you don't miss any. So that's where learning about all the planets and how to use their energy, how it shows up in your own chart, in addition to even just how to read a chart, really understand your birth chart, understand what are these houses and all the signs and aspects, squares, sextiles. So that's what we're going to be talking about there. So I decided, so if you go to findingyourvoiceafter40.com/courses, you can still be a part of that. But I decided what I wanted to do, I wanted to start talking about is some of my favorite things about astrology, favorite planets, signs, placements, and why. And that way you get, hopefully my excitement will inspire you to want to find out about your own astrology a bit more. And it's also a way for us just again to look at astrology past just the stereotypical, Mercury retrograde, this is this, but to really use the astrology. And I think that's what my goal, the whole reason why I even do this is to help you use the astrology and not just know your placements. So I'm doing a little bit of fun. We'll see if you guys tap into this or not. If you do tap in, I'll just keep going. But I'm going to talk about a little bit my favorite things, my favorite astrological things. And so, like I said, this could be a sign, it could be a planet, whatever. I'm going to say what it is and why it is, and how I've used it for my own breakthroughs and how I've seen it impact others kind of, with these favorite things and how it gets around. So we'll see how it goes. See what y'all think. Make sure you are subscribed. If you are not subscribed, hit the subscribe button now. If you think you're subscribed, but you really just hit it. Just hit it just in case. It'll show you. It'll say, "Oh, you." And if you like this, which you're gonna like it, so just push like now. And then obviously share the good so that more people can tap in. So, what I wanted to talk today, my favorite thing, and you see it in the description, I want to start out with Chiron. So, Chiron, you're probably like, what is Chiron? What, huh? Is that a Virgo? Is that is that a planet? It's a planet I never no. Chiron is an asteroid. It is not talked about. I think if you're really into astrology, then yes, you are very familiar with Chiron. But if you're like, you kind of know your sign and you're watching this video because you're curious, want to learn more, you probably have never heard of this idea of Chiron. It's spelled Chiron. And you see it, on the title of this video. But the reason why I love Chiron so much, and it's because of my background, it's because as a counselor, I'm a little biased. I'm really into people's healing. That's the whole point. I was a physical therapist for many years, so I definitely tackled more of the body in terms of healing and rehabilitation. I practiced physical therapy for almost 19 years, so it was a long time. I also, like I said, have my master's in counseling. So, and I've been in counseling. I've been a counselor for over 20 years. I know, guys. I'm aging right. Yes. It's interesting because I've done counseling now longer than I actually did physical therapy, and at one point I was doing them both. So I'm not like 100 years old, right? But at one point, when I was in graduate school, I was still doing physical therapy, and then when I finished graduate school, I still kept my license and I would practice here or there. And so for the first decade, really first 10 years of my counseling career, I still kept my physical therapy license current, and I would still practice PRN, like PRN meaning as needed. I would maybe go to a hospital here or there. But it was in 2012 when I really stopped the physical therapy, but I kept the counseling more active. So healing is a big deal. And Chiron, the other name for Chiron is the wounded healer. Of course, I like Chiron, the wounded healer. And so the reason why I really love what Chiron stands for, and I use it as a major part of my own transformation. Oh, I should probably turn off my phone. I use it to help myself out. And I definitely, when I am coaching clients and I'm doing astrological readings, I always point out where is Chiron in a person's chart, because Chiron is the inner child wound. It's when we're talking about the inner child and the reparenting, that's Chiron is the belly of that. And so in astrology, again, astrology is making the assumption that the soul comes here and picks the exact perfect time location to enter the world to have this certain spiritual journey in this human existence. And the astrology is just showing how nature supports the journey, pushes the journey, directs the journey a bit, or the option, okay, and how we're kind of wired. And so Chiron is that thing. Well, this is where the soul decides, this is in this lifetime where I'm going to have this particular wounding, hurt child, hurt whatever thing, rub. Because the whole chart is now kind of geared toward all these opportunities to do the healing work, the relationships, the health, the family, the love, the worth, the value, all of that is tied into how will Chiron do what it says? How will you become the wounded healer? Okay. And if you even just look, listen, wounded healer. So healer meaning you are already a teacher and healer. Like you're there. You're just having a woundedness about you. And that's why I really think it's special. Meaning this is our flaw. This is our Achilles, right? This is the thing that's really challenging for us. And we have what's called a Chiron return. Chiron takes about 50 years before it gets back into the same position that it was in when you were born. So we have our solar return. That's our birthday. It just takes 365 days. It just takes 1 year for the sun to get around, right? Every planet, because the further away it is from Earth, it takes longer, right? Well, Chiron again is an asteroid and it takes 50 years. It takes a long time. So when people are having their, turning 50 and it becomes this wah time, a lot of times it's because what Chiron is saying is, hey, have you worked on that inner child stuff yet? Like, it's been 50 years. That's why I think those of you who are approaching 50 who are 50 or who are maybe 51, 52, you've probably found if you haven't started to really get serious about your growth, serious about the pain, serious about the things that are not working, whether it be with work or personal, you better. One, only because the soul is ready for that. If you've been doing a lot of that work, it's very rewarding because, again, you're the wounded healer. So you're either going to be in a phase where you've been working through it because your whole life is helping to teach you do that reparenting and do that healing work. And so by the time then, you turn in your 40s, it's really starting to turn up. What you're doing. And there's some other planet, Neptune is doing some interesting things. It's squaring Uranus is doing interesting things. All these things are going on to help get you uncomfortable enough so that in fact you will address the woundedness, okay, as a healer. And if you've been working, what'll happen is by the time you hit that Chiron return at 50, you will have really addressed and acknowledged and nurtured and reparented and really given yourself this development so that now you get to pay it forward and help other people to heal with the same types of wounding. Isn't that magical? That there is a tool that shows us the very area where if we've been like, what is the astrology will show you. So you find where your Chiron is. Because Chiron moves so slowly, it's considered a generational kind of placement, meaning people born between a certain number of years are going to all have the same Chiron sign. Okay. So a lot of Generation X people like me who are in their early 50s, even maybe late 40s, early 50s, have Chiron in Aries. So, the way that you want to think about this, what does Chiron in Aries mean? Well, Chiron, we have to think about, first of all, what is Aries? And so, if you go back, those of you who are new, if you go back on this playlist, I talk all about the sign of Aries, all the traits, its high frequency, low frequency, and even self care things you can do for it. Those of you who have been watching along but don't remember what I said, go back. Those of you who totally know what Aries energy is, you might even be in Aries. Imagine then being wounded in it. A whole generation of people. So those of us who have our Chiron in Aries, the pinnacle, the big part of Aries is the I am. It's the independence. It's the great, it starts the signs. It's a cardinal fire. Boom, Aries. Okay. I activate. It's my courage. It's my passion to do, to go. And again, it's my independence. So if I have a woundedness in here, This is how sophisticated astrology is. It's not that I'm not independent. No, that's not. Because Generation X, I would beg to differ. We are the generation where we're hyper independent. We're the ones that said no. We were the latchkey kids. We were the ones where where Kenya? I don't know. She'd be all right. We're the ones that had to go figure out how to get to college if we were going to go, fill out all the application, do all the things, and Mama hasn't even seen our report card in years. We're the ones that where they said, "Oh, it was a snowstorm, and snow used to come up to our faces, and we still had to go to school on our own by myself and walk 5 miles." Like we're those kids, right? And so we've done it on our own. I don't need your help. I got it. I don't want your support. I got it. I. So there's that Aries. There's a woundedness in that because the way you got that independence, you weren't nurtured into that. You were neglected into that. You were wounded into that. It wasn't because somebody helped you learn how to be, it's because they left you on your own defenses. And it's nobody's fault. It's just the state of where the world was at that point. It's just the state, it's just the cycles. We decided to come in at that time because that was our woundedness that we were going to work on, that we're going to heal through and help others gain their sense of independence so that future generations won't have that same wounding, or those who have, because the cycles, Chiron's going to keep on moving. So there's a whole nother generation of Chiron and Aries. Okay. And so those Chiron and Aries babies, they happening right now, or they happened in the past year or so. And so we're setting things up so for them, they will also learn, and all the other generations. So having Chiron and Aries, for me, what that finally gave me, like, I've always felt like, yes, I had to do it all by myself. But I tell myself, but this is the healing of that is learning how to ask for help. The healing for that is getting support. And what is it that I do? I support others. I took it to the degree. And why? Because my Chiron in Aries is in the 10th house. The 10th house is career and the public. Now, at some point, after I kind of go through my series of favorite things, I'll go through the houses. So you better understand what I'm even talking about. But for right now, just understand that in astrology, in your birth chart, there's 12 houses, which are just 12 different parts of your life. And the planets and the signs are assigned to a different house or a different part of your life. And so for me, those of you who don't know, I always say this, we have every sign in us. And so for me, my Aries, for me, and for anybody who is a Cancer rising, Aries is going to be in the 10th house for you. That's just the order. I'm not special for that. No, if Cancer is your rising sign, and rising means it's your ascendant or your first, it's what sets up the chart. It's the first house. If you are a Cancer rising, that means you have Aries in 10th house, period. No matter what, if you're a Cancer rising. Now, what planets do you have? What asteroids do you have in the 10th house? That's where it varies. So for me, I have my Chiron in Aries. I have my woundedness, and it particularly shows up in terms of the public and career. And so for me, the way that I have alchemized that wounding is to pay it forward by being in a healing career, a career in which I can be of service while still working on myself with that. And so it gets much deeper. Anytime you have Chiron in Aries, that's also suggestive of some kind of wounding of just the identity. So that means it also can relate then to the first house, because the first house is related to identity. And it can get even, it gets really deep. There's some, my mentor, he does a whole series. He loves Chiron, and he's probably what made me really love Chiron too, because since he loves Chiron so much, he teaches it he taught it to me and his other students just really in a very strong manner. His name is Vontae Clark. And he goes as far as to kind of explain how Chiron shows up in all the different houses. Maybe one day I'll bring him on so we can talk more about that for sure, because you would be fascinated. He's amazing. But I love Chiron because I now feel it also really helped me so much for me because Chiron is in my 10th house of career. It really shows me so much more about how I need to look at career, not only in terms of the vocation, the type of work I do, but also remember 10th house is also the public. So there's kind of maybe even a woundedness, or there is a woundedness in how you feel about being in the public, about your reputation, about how others may see you. Will others hurt you or treat you? I mean, maybe, but what's happening with Chiron there, that's my insecurity of that. Okay, that is a situation. There may be situations where my reputation is put on the line. I've definitely had that in more public spaces. Um, but it's the wounded healer. And so that's what gives me so much peace because I recognize this is something that is for me to work on. And so when I consider my inner child, I have to think a lot about how were my needs met? How did I identify myself? What things did I go through in childhood that were centered around more Aries energies, like identity, like confidence, even the body, all of these things are very personal. And when I look at my childhood, I see a variety of things that, again, nobody was trying to wound, but there was a wounding there. And so it's very helpful in my adulthood. And as I'm, continuing just to do my own personal development, it's like a spotlight. It's like a flashlight that helps me understand the specific parts of myself that are more fragile and that are more wounded and that I need to reparent and that I need. So asking for help, it's still so hard for me to ask for help. And a lot of it is not because I don't want to ask for help as much as I don't even a lot of times know what to ask for. I don't even know how to ask. Like I've really had to, I'm still really working on how do I not do everything by myself and, take a pause and ask for the support that I need from family, from friends, from community, from all of that, and not just always from my therapist, right? So that's why I love Chiron. So I want you to go and find if you know your birth chart, if you already have access to your birth chart, go look up where your Chiron is. And again, if you have Chiron in Cancer, then Cancer is that energy of nurture and of mothering and home life and family. And so when you have Chiron there, there's a woundedness in that energy, in something around nurturing, in something around family, something around um, the home life. Okay, that's what that. If you have Chiron in let's say you have Chiron, I'm going to say in Gemini, then Chiron in Gemini is suggestive. Again, you have to first just look at the sign. What are the characteristics of the sign? And now understand that those different characteristics, there's probably some type of insecurity, fear, inadequacy feeling that you may have around it. It doesn't mean you are inadequate. It doesn't mean that that's who you are. It's the perception that you have because there's a wounding there. There was something as in childhood that wasn't supported. So Gemini are great communicators, great thinkers, great writers. And so when you have Chiron in Gemini, which is kind of that millennial age, that's our millennials are 38s, 39, 40s, somewhere in there. That's our Chiron Geminis. They're a lot of times over talking, over speaking to feel affirmed because this sense of there's a woundedness in their belief and trusting their own mind and their own words. And so a lot of times Chiron and Gemini will show up as constantly asking other people their opinion, um, waiting for the affirmation or the go or the green light, the approval from other people. and other people's words, other people's thoughts, as opposed to trusting and relying on their own. And so it's interesting how social media plays in with that generation because, again, social media is this constant seeking of click the likes, share my video, affirm me, right? And so, I think that's why millennials kind of kicked off the energy of social media because it's that energy of needing other people to acknowledge their thoughts and their words in a post. But what the soul is saying is no, 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 no. We need you to reparent that part of your life so that you will speak, trust your thoughts, trust and affirm yourself as it relates to what you have to say and what it is you're going to write. So that's how that can show up in that sign. So Chiron is good, y'all. I love Chiron. If you're like, I want to learn more about my Chiron, I'm confused, but I need it. I need it because it would help me. Book a reading with me. You just go to the description. If you go to findingyourvoiceafter40.com, you can book a free discovery call. If you scroll down and it says see upcoming events, when you click on that, you'll see all the things of how to book either a virtual reading or a free discovery call. Plus, I have a whole bunch of other services there, but or just email, just email. And so let me put all of this down up here on the screen for you so that you have it. It's also in the description. But if you want to learn more about your Chiron, where your Chiron is, and what does it mean, and what are some activities and things you can do to address it, because this is the thing. Well, contact, book a reading, or just do a free discovery call so we can talk about what's all involved in a reading. But this is the thing. Your whole chart, Chiron obviously is just a moment. It's just a part of the chart. And so what I love about doing the guidance readings is once I see where your Chiron is, I can also see the different things playing out in the chart that are either supporting the healing of that or challenging the healing of that. And so that's how I'm able to use okay, your Chiron is here, but we're going to look at some of the gifts, the sextiles, the trines, the things that are trying to help you mend this and free this up and gift you. And then we're going to also look at what are those things that are definitely challenging this even more and giving you even more opportunities to recognize how significant this Chiron placement is. So it's not just as simple as me telling, oh, your Chiron's in Aries, so you have wounding and independence. It's like, and so what? So how does that impact the rest of your life and your journey? So I kicked it off coming back. Happy Women's History Month again. Happy March as we talk about Chiron. And yeah, put in the comments, where's your Chiron? And maybe I can give you a little bit of just quick food for thought if you just need some quick food for thought. Where's your Chiron? All right. You guys be amazing. And we'll be back and I'll share again my next favorite thing in astrology. Because I got a lot of favorite things. A lot. So you guys be good. Enjoy your Sunday if you're watching in a lifetime. If you're watching at a different time, awesome. And make sure you hit subscribe and hit the bell so that you know when I go live or when I've posted a video so you can tap in. All right, you guys take care. Bye.